Teacher trainees across the country will likely not write their end-of-semester exams, which is scheduled for Monday, and the reasons are that lecturers are on a sit-down strike. The Colleges Teachers Association of Ghana insists they will not return to the classrooms until the Minister of Education gives them 70% of their current gross salary for work done over the years. And this is today's big story. My name is Bright Nana Amfo. Thanks so much for staying there for the big story. Now, per the semester timetable for the teacher trainees across the country, Monday, teachers are expected to start their end-of-semester examinations. However, it appears that will not happen because their lecturers are on strike. Trainees are faced with the possibility of missing their end-of-semester exams in spite of their pleas. Members of the Colleges Teachers Association of Ghana insist they will not return to the classrooms until the Minister of Education gives them 70% of their current gross salary for work they have done over the years. Let's take a listen to them.
The affected teachers Monday morning besieged the forecourt of the Wa Municipal Directorate of the Ghana Education Service, after which they sought audience with the Municipal Director of Education, Suleiman Al-Hassan. According to the director, he had worked on their salaries and was surprised the teachers had not been paid. But the aggrieved teachers were not satisfied with his response. They demanded the Municipal Director of Education has a telephone conversation with Wan Inkum, who is the Director of the Integrated Personal Payroll Database, commonly referred to as IPPD, in their presence.
One municipal online with a different line. I'm trying the other line and it was misbehaving. Yes. My teachers are on me. Those whose salaries were embargoed in December. We processed their things and sent over. They said they haven't heard anything. They have been giving messages from controller indicating 00 payments.
Suleiman Al-Hassan, however, insisted their names had been added to IPPD list, but it had to be approved by the Controller and Accountant General's office. The aggrieved teachers later held a press conference on the matter. Suleiman Isahaku is their spokesperson.
I cannot be sitting here reading this press statement and be called a ghost. You go to my school and ask my people whether I teach or we don't teach. Then you call us ghost names. And to take all these names, so we suspect that Mr. Inkum, who had come here sometime last year, one day to do an exercise, that we suspect that this is as a result of the exercise. And we had indications that other regions had been taking 3 days for those same exercises, and or more than that.
They warned that they will lay down their tools if they are not paid by the end of the month.
Now, these students are worried that the situation needs urgent attention. Now, trainees, we are told the ministry has been holding a series of meetings with the teachers and is trying to resolve the issue. Luckily, we'll be joined on the phone lines by the Public Relations Officer of the Ministry of Education, Mr. Paul Krampa, to explain if indeed a resolution has been resolved. But these students who are expected to write the exams on Monday are worried about the situation. Let's listen to them.
Yeah, our teachers are satisfied with the issue that the government has not yet listened to them since last month when they went for the strike, and up to now they are also saying that if the government did not listen to them, they will not come back to class, and it's very, very bad. It's affecting the students.
Students will get relaxed and they can just tell us to write the exam at any time. That means we will not be very prepared and the students will get reversed. Quite apart from that, it will also affect the academic calendar if it is not called off.
Mr. Paul Krampa is a public relations officer of the Ministry of Education. He's joining me on phone. Mr. Krampa, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Was the confusion resolved at the meeting?
Well, there was a conclusion. The National Labour Commission gave its ruling by asking the SETAC, that's the teacher within the College of Education, to call off their strike action. They describe it as unnecessary and then illegal.
That is what they describe the decision of the Labour Commission.
Yes. That was what that was the ruling they gave. And that it was unwarranted and then illegal.
So,
and that they were asked to call off the strike action immediately.
Right. So they said it was unwarranted, it is illegal, it is unnecessary. What does it mean for the strike action?
Well, it means, right from the very outset, we indicated that it was an illegal strike action because, all the issues that they raised are issues that have been addressed by the management of the Ministry of Education. The Ministry of Education, right since last year, has set up committees to look at some of the issues that have to be considered to migrate the College of Education into full tertiary institutions. 3 committees were set up. One for condition of service, one for scheme of service, one also for status of the College of Education. Now, the committees have all completed their work. Part of it, SETAC was part of the committees that were set up. So all the issues that were raised were issues that they themselves were very much aware that were being addressed by the Minister of Education. When you are transiting one group from one point to another, you don't have to rush through it. You need to take time to look at issues critically before arriving at conclusions. But in this case, there was absolutely no break in communication. The process was ongoing. People, those who were actually charged to look at aspects of the decision were also working around the clock to ensure that there was full migration of the College of Education into full tertiary status. Right. And even just this morning, we received a letter from Fair Wages Asare Commission inviting the principals of College of Education for a meeting on Friday. They have even extended an invitation to SETAC as well, that they should also be at that meeting. So this alone shows that, the process that we actually started was being addressed. And I want to state here that the invitation, that was extended, was as a result of a copy of the condition of service that we submitted to the Fair Wages Asare Commission.
So, an inconclusive meeting, I'll put it that way. What happens to the semester exams expected to start on Monday?
Oh, no, they are supposed, as I stated, they are supposed to actually call off the strike action and then go back to work. You see the point? If they don't go back, well, I was not the one who gave that directive, that ruling to be precise. It was the ruling of the National Labour Commission. So they have the power of a high court, and they were made to understand at the hearing that if they flag the directive, there's the possibility of sanctions being imposed on them. So they are very, very much aware of that. So if they flag the directive of the NLC and they don't go back, there is the tendency of the National Labour Commission actually imposing sanctions on them.
So you are taking it that they'll go back to work?
Yes.
You saw their body language. You saw the way they described the ruling, unnecessary, unwarranted, and yet you think they'll go back to work?
Well, if they don't go, then that one it's the preview of the National Labour Commission to take action. That's all.
Are there contingency plans? On Monday, the exams are expected to start. Now, with the kind of language that these teachers are using, if they don't go on Monday, contingency plans in place?
Well, that is, in fact, the principals of the college. This is a tertiary institution. You get a point. It's a tertiary institution. So they have a way of actually addressing issues of this nature. So if they are supposed to invigilate and they don't invigilate, I'm sure the various principals or colleges of education must have put in place certain measures. I wouldn't know what measures they have put in place because we are talking about 38 colleges of education. So the principals must have put in place measures to actually ensure that there is a smooth conduct of the end of semester examination.
The concerns of these trained teachers, you seem to suggest that they should just hold on and it will all be satisfied. Explain to us, why has it taken this long?
Yeah, it has taken too long because we have to follow a process. The act establishing the College of Education was passed in 2012. And when an act is passed, you don't just implement things like that. No. You need to sit down, draw up legislative instruments. And that's exactly what the minister has done by setting up committees to look at the condition of service, to look at the status of the College of Education, as well as the scheme of service. So these things take time. I mean, you get a point. It takes time. And, you cannot just... Now that right now they are on the ranking of the Ghana Education Service. They were under the Ghana Education Service. Now they are not being migrated to another level. There should be a guideline that if, let's for instance, you are a principal superintendent and you hold master's degree, and that you a master's degree in your area of specialization. It's not anything like that. It's not just a master's degree. In your area, if, for instance, you are an English tutor and you hold master's in English, then it means you have to be migrated to a certain point.
Right.
And you don't just do this thing. You are talking about 38 colleges of education, and due diligence has to be applied in the migration of the teachers to their new rankings within the College of Education. So it is not something that you have to rush. You have to do it everything systematically. They have actually, the committees have completed their work. They have presented their report to the minister. The minister has accepted the committee's report. And then those issues that have to be addressed are being addressed. And then there's only one hitch now. The hitch is that, the colleges of education until recently, they had interim management, governing councils.
Right.
Now, new governing councils have been reconstituted, and it has been sent to the office of the president for approval. And then those are the councils that will ratify the status, the scheme of work, scheme of service of the College of Education. So it takes time. You don't just stand up and then do things like that. Because you are talking about tertiary institutions, and there are guidelines actually that guides, the tertiary institutions. So that is it. So it is not, that is why, it's a gradual process. You have to go through all this. And the point is, if you want to implement this thing at once, what will happen is that some of them will be kicked out of the College of Education because they don't hold the requisite qualification to teach in tertiary institutions like College of Education. So you have to be very, very careful about the migration so that people are not actually left out.
I am tempted to believe that perhaps if the communication from the Education Ministry is not open enough, it's not transparent. So these teachers are not quite with you on the same path.
No, they are. The point is this. No, we have dealt with the principals of the College of Education as well as the association. You get the point. And at every level, recently they submitted a letter to the minister. The minister took her time to address all the concerns raised in a letter that was addressed to them on 6th of January. She took her time. Unfortunately, I'm not in the office right now. I will refer to you some of the points that she stated. They were asking for 70% of their gross salary. You get a point?
Right.
As a COLA, as cost of living allowance, until such a time that there's the full migration of the College of Education to full tertiary status. But they made them to understand that the Minister of Education hasn't got the mandate to negotiate conditions of service of workers within the education sector. It is the Fair Wages and Salary Commission that has that mandate. Are you getting the point?
Right.
So that point has been made to them. And those are the things that they're not happy about. And they wanted the ministry to sign an MOU with them. The ministry hasn't got that mandate. And the point, what I have observed is that most of them, they are just rushing. You know, anything we're doing is we're doing very well. That is what I believe in. I mean, I have witnessed the migration of the the technical institute into polytechnics. There were a lot of challenges. You see the point. So I would strongly advise, use your platform to advise them that they should exercise patience. Anything we're doing is we're doing very well. They shouldn't rush. They should allow the process to be implemented. In the end, they themselves will be very happy. But if they are trying to put pressure that the ministry should implement this thing, there may be challenges which they may not be happy about.
Right. In wrapping up this conversation, you think that they should hold on. How long do you think these misunderstandings can be resolved?
As I told you earlier on, as I told you, there's no break in communication, and there's no break in the process. The process is ongoing. I've just informed you that because of our representation to the Fair Wages and Salary Commission, they have been invited for discussions on Friday. Are you getting me? It's part of the process. The condition of service is part of the process. And that is why the Fair Wages and Salary Commission has been invited has invited them for a meeting on Friday. So the process is ongoing. There's no break in the implementation of the migration of the College of Education.
Right, and so hopefully the first quarter, second quarter, we're likely to see an end to these misunderstandings.
No, I mean, as I stated earlier on, it's uncalled for. It's uncalled for because at least the thing is they have been part of the discussions. Nobody has left them out. If they had been left out, that would have been a different show together. They have been a part of all the discussions. They know where we are moving. But it looks as if the members are putting pressure on the leadership. That's why they are also behaving this way. It's their members. They are putting pressure on them. That is what we have observed as a ministry, that there's a lot of pressure being put on them by their members.
But you not tell us when perhaps these misunderstandings will be resolved.
Well, I cannot give you any timeline. I can't give you, but all that I can tell you that we'll continue with the process and then ensure that we are very much committed as a ministry to see to the full migration of the College of Education into full tertiary institutions. So we are very much committed, and we'll make sure that we actually continue in the process.
Mr. Krampa, can you hold the line for him for 2 minutes? Let me speak to the National Coordinator of the Teacher Trainees Association, Seydou Ahmed. He's just joined me. Seydou, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much, and good evening to your cherished viewers.
And you might have heard of the ruling by the National Labour Commission that says that the teachers should go back to the lecture halls. What is your first reaction?
Thank you very much, and I would like to use this opportunity to thank the National Labour Commission for listening to the plight of the lecturers of the teacher training colleges. And you realize that when the teacher trainees in the colleges of education got to hear of this information, they were very much disturbed because lecturers will not be able to go on. But as it stands this evening, we had a report that the lecturers should go back to their lecture halls. We are very much grateful, and we hope and pray that this directive will be adhered with. But what we want to add as leaders of Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana is that the government should not only direct the teachers to go back, or the same wages should not direct them to go back to the lecture halls, but also see today that their demands are properly met. So that teacher trainees in the colleges will not go to bear consequences. And you realize that when two elephants are fighting, it's the grass that suffers. We as teacher trainees or as students in the College of Education, at the end of the day, are going to suffer the consequences of these actions. And that is why at this moment we are very much grateful, and we hope and pray that this directive will be adhered to and studies will go on in the colleges of education.
We're trying hard to speak to the secretary of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, but this strike, this sit-down strike, as you're getting ready for your exams, tell me, you students on campus, how has it affected you and the exams on Monday? Will it have any impact?
Respectfully, at this moment, we in the colleges, we are in a state of dilemma. And you realize that, if I'm not mistaken, this thing ever happened after last semester. We're not able to write the exam, the end of semester exam. And this exam has to be postponed. And when it happens that way, when we get back to the college, we are made to pay additional fees for our students. And that was another burden on our parents. So the implication of this thing again is that after all this, no matter how long it takes, we are going back to write our exams. every student will be expected to pay money. And that is what we want to use this avenue to put on record. As teacher trainees, if there is a need for them to resolve the situation, then they should resolve it. And they should not keep these things until the end of the day. Teacher trainees will be called back to the colleges and they will make the payments. And if that thing is done, the national executives of the association will not take it kind, because we are not going to allow such a thing to happen. It has ever happened, and we did everything possible to resolve it. It never does. But as of now, we are not ready to pay any money, no matter the consequences. As it is going like that, we are prepared to write our exams next week. Whatever it is, that issue should be resolved. At the end of the day, we will not bear any other additional consequences. And I think this is what we have to put on record. And we'll take this opportunity to pray to all teacher trainees to keep calm and be concentrated on their studies, because at the end of the day, our success in our exams is going to be something that will uplift us. As things are moving on, we all hope and pray that there should be proper negotiation between the government, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, and our teachers in the colleges of education, so that at the end of the day, we as students are not going to suffer these consequences again.
Thank you so much. Saido Hamed is the national coordinator of the Teacher Trainees Association. Mr. Paul Krampa still on the phone. Let me wrap up with him. Mr. Krampa, sure you said that the principals of these colleges of education perhaps will have their own way of handling the situation in case the teachers do not go to the lecture halls on Monday. Do you need a directive from...
Lectures have ended. Lectures have ended.
Right.
This week is revision week, and they are starting exams next week. So next week is beginning of the end of semester exams. And as I stated, they're definitely all the principals of colleges of education, they are all managers.
Right.
So if there are challenges, it is up to them to address them. And I'm very much optimistic that they put in place contingency measures to ensure that there's no disruption in the conduct of the end of semester exams.
They don't need a directive from Accra to put together contingency measures.
They don't need any directive from the ministry. They themselves are very much aware. In fact, I have interacted with some of them, and they are not happy about what is happening at all. They are not happy. But the point is, you see, they know all what is being, because they have always been in talks with the ministry. And they know very well that at least the process for migrating the College of Education into full tertiary status are ongoing. And that everything has been completed, the status has been drawn, the condition of service has been actually drawn up, the scheme of work, everything has been completed. And all that we are waiting is the reconstitution of the councils, and then they'll ratify all the documents, all the issues that I have raised.
Mr. Paul Krampa, thanks so much for speaking to us.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity, and good evening.
Paul Krampa is the Public Relations Officer of the Ministry of Education. They're talking to me about a decision. We're told that the National Labour Commission has ruled that the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana should go back to the lecture halls on Monday, and the students are expected to write the exams. But we're trying hard to get in touch with the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, but we are unable to get it. We'll get you more later on here on Joy News. So time to wrap up the first part of the show. Don't forget that we have the interactive segment coming up right after this. My name is Bright Nanafu. Stay there. I'll be back with Gladys in a moment. Welcome back to the big story. Time now to stay interactive with Gladys, and she just joined me. And certainly it's an issue that will grab your attention, talking about what's been happening, murders and kidnappings all across the country.
There seem to be a number of them happening in town lately, and it really is worrying.
We'll have to look at it.
Yes.
Welcome to the show, Gladys.
Thank you, Nana. Right, so it's time to get interactive. Join us. Let's get interactive right here on Joy News on Multi TV. My name is Gladys Osei Uredu. You can join this conversation via our social media platforms, facebook.com/joynewsontv. You could also send us a tweet, twitter.com/joynewsontv. The handle is @joynewsontv or #JNInteractiveTH. You could drop us an email through joynewsim@multitvworld.com. Send us your comments, your views, your opinions, the way forward to the topic posted, and we shall be interacting with you right here. What is happening in Ghana? This is an issue I have been battling with the whole day. It appears I am not alone. The reported cases of murder lately is choking. It appears cases of murder are on the rise by the second. For instance, a few days ago, a man beats his child to death over 10 pesos. We can also recall the Stanbic Bank worker who was murdered by a 22-year-old man at her residence for no offense, according to him. Just yesterday, a 20-year-old medical student at the University of Development Studies was stabbed to death by his colleague, while a man was also arrested for beating his wife to death over 80 Ghana cedis. What is happening? That is very sad. I have fortunately been joined on the phone lines by the chief psychiatrist at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital, Dr. Akwesi Osei. Thanks, Doctor.
My pleasure.
How do we explain these recent murder cases? There's been too many of them.
Well, heinous crimes of that nature, if anybody goes through that or exhibits that, we need to look at the mental health aspect. There is a criminal component. In other words, some of them may certainly be due to just criminal component, and we need to look at that. But others obviously have a mental health problem, and we also need to look at that aspect. Now, what are the mental health issues that can lead somebody to commit such an offense, such a crime? Well, if somebody has an underlying mental illness and is not recognized, then under some conditions of stress, it may be precipitated, and then such a person may exhibit in such a manner. For instance, somebody may have an existing personality problem, personality disorder. Personality disorder is the person's own makeup. It's such that he has a maladjusted way of reacting to situations. So somebody like that, and there are various types. So the antisocial personality disorder, for instance, which you call psychopath. If somebody has such a problem and is irritated, in a manner somebody else may not react, and such a person may react with such an aggression, and somebody nearby may be the target of the aggression. And it means that we may not have recognized his personality problem all along. That is one aspect. Somebody may be abusing drug abuse, marijuana, cocaine, heroin, cocaine, heroin. If somebody is abusing drug, and we probably either we recognize or we have not, and such a person continues to indulge in it, it impairs his judgment. So under some conditions of irritation, he may not be able to appreciate what he's doing and then perpetrate such a crime. That is a possibility. Somebody may have mania, or what may also be called bipolar disorder. Under some circumstances, he feels elated, he feels excited. Again, his judgment is impaired, and he may perpetrate such a crime without recognizing what he's doing. Somebody may not be earlier mentally ill, but probably may be going through a certain condition of extreme stress, and is not able to manage the stress, and then it manifests that way. So all these are various possibilities that we need to look at, so that we know what is happening, so we can handle it Otherwise, it might get escalated, and then somebody else may be another victim.
When people like that are brought to your outfit, how are those people treated?
Well, to start with, you will need to confirm to be sure that we are dealing with somebody with a mental health problem. And so you will take a detailed history and then examine the person. In other words, evaluate. And if you evaluate and you realize that this is the problem, this is what is happening to this person, then based on the nature of the condition the person is having, we target the treatment. Of course, to such an extent, personality disorder might require not just not medication, but it will require continuous therapy. But the other problems like drug abuse, like mania or bipolar disorder, may require medication, and then in addition to that, proper rehabilitation to make sure that the person doesn't go back to that situation. And if it's just a question of his stress, then you also need to handle his stress and educate him, teach him that he will know himself how to handle stress and not allow it to get to that point.
Listening to you, Dr. Osei, are we safe? What do we do as a people to protect ourselves?
Well, frankly, all along until now, and I say until now for a reason, I'll come to that, all along until now, as a society, we have not taken proper care of our mental health care. As a society, we had ignored it. We did not realize it was a problem. And I have been saying that a lot of what you call social vices, people committing suicide, armed robbery, lots of these problems are actually mental health related. And as a society, we ignored it, we did not recognize it, and we allowed it. Now, I would say we are taking a bold step by virtue of our having enacted the Mental Health Act, and we are beginning to implement it. So eventually, you'll get there and have these problems going down remarkably. But until then, your question is what we do. Well, at the level of the individual, if you are going through stress, you may recognize it yourself. You realize that you've now lost concentration. You are not your normal self, the way you were earlier. You are not like that. You usually get irritated. Then you need to take steps. You need to seek help, get attention. If, on the other hand, you recognize your fellow, your friend, your colleague is also becoming recently of late easily irritable, the least thing that could not have irritated him, that could not have made him angry in the past, it's not making him get angry more often. He's losing concentration. His work output is becoming low. That should ask us get us to ask questions, and through that we might be able to recognize what is happening and help him to go for counseling or for treatment. Then at the institutional level, I think big organizations, now you've got to a point where big organizations, big companies will require to get a clinical psychologist attached to them, either a resident clinical psychologist, or they should make arrangements for somebody, clinical psychologist, to come and assist to evaluate every now and then, or they immediately they recognize the problem, send the person to go for assessment. I think you go to a point where we need to begin to attach some mental health worker to our various organizations and not just wait until something comes in before we take action. That will be reactive. Now we need to be proactive.
I just want to find out, is there anything like poverty-driven madness?
Well, if generally, if somebody is poor and it can lead to his stress level going up. And stress generally, anything that causes stress, if you are not able to handle it, then it can lead to problems of mental problems, yes. So it's not the poverty per se, but the poverty leading to your stress levels going up and you not being able to handle it. Otherwise, many people are poor. That doesn't drive them to be mentally ill, but it goes through, for instance, by the end of the month, your salary starts within 1 week. And then probably it does not take you to where you need to go. Then you are thinking, what next? Your stress level goes up. If you are not able to handle the stress, then untoward effects could happen, but not poverty per se in itself.
All right, Dr. Akwesi Osei, thank you so much. We have been talking to Dr. Akwesi Osei. He is the chief psychiatrist at the Accra Psychiatry Hospital. I just don't get it. On social media, well, we decided to set this agenda, and it appears most of you are worried too. Well, but before we go on, information reaching us indicates that the student stabbed in Tamale is not dead. She is in very critical condition, and she cannot talk, so can't show who her culprit is yet. But let's all pray for her to gain strength, and then she can point out who that criminal was attempting to kill her, and then the person will be brought before the law. But what is accounting for the situation? Well, please share your thoughts with us on our social media platforms. Meanwhile, let me hit the streets and seek some answers from our viewers.
Will I say that maybe due to the economic hardship in the country, things are so hard that people don't want to waste resources. But I don't also find sense in this thing, killing somebody because of money. I don't know. I don't find any sense in it. Because you could work for what you have lost. You could work for it, so why should you even kill people? But come to think of it, I should think it's just because of the economic hardship. And maybe people spend more than they earn. Do you understand? They spend more than they earn, so they can't waste what they have gathered. Just that.
Lack of literacy. Why? Because if you are not educated, it can bring about, like, let's take it as being a child. If you are not educated, you can just put that thing in your mind, like stealing and other things. But if you are educated, maybe they are going to teach you about, they are going to teach you not to steal, joining bad friends, and maybe they will tell you to go and, like, maybe they will not advise you, like they will be teaching you bad things, or let's go and steal. If you still can kill that person and steal from them or something like that. Yeah.
The economic is very serious, because if you find it difficult to get money these days because of our economy, because the government has let us suffering. Because if you go, you can't get anything for your pocket. You understand? But if you have anything and you pick your wife pick your 80 series, it doesn't matter of beating or your son stabbing or no, it's not that. But the only thing we have to do, let the government sit down and analyze what is going on in the country so that we can solve it. Because now if you go to town, you can't get anything. You suffer, and if you suffer to get the money and you come when someone come and pick the money, then it's turn up to either beating or stab the person to death. Because, boss, we are suffering. That's the whole thing. We are suffering. We should let the economy be stable for us so that the people that we are in the country will enjoy. Because right now the investors all are going.
The latest one that breaks my heart a lot is the 42-year-old man who beat his wife to death over 80 Ghana cedis. Abba, his wife was 31, and according to the man's confession, he gave his wife 80 Ghana cedis to buy Christmas clothes for his children, and she used the money to buy food for the children instead, and that attracted beating and ultimately death. What kind of life is this? Well, let me read your comments on WhatsApp. Let's see what you have been putting on WhatsApp, saying on WhatsApp concerning this issue. Lasky Abudu says, the world is coming to an end. Obviously, Lasky, you can't just understand what is happening. Kwame Delali says, it is due to poor management of the economy. If we have enough money and workers are being paid well, who would beat her wife or his wife or steal 80 Ghana cedis? Kwame Delali, are you sure that explains it? Well, Emmanuel Jani says, too much envy among individuals. So you think, Emmanuel, are you saying out of envy, that is why the man beat his wife to death? Envy, 80 Ghana cedis. Mohamed Maestro says, I think this is due to toughness of the economy. So, hi, man, are you telling me that you're going to be beating your wife to death because the economy is hard? Wow. Okay, somebody will say, like, seriously? Well, that's coming from Maestro Mohammed. Afrim Prince says, economic hardship coupled with frustrations, Jesus is the answer. Wow, I see. Well, so that's also coming from Prince Afrim. Let's see who is next. Will the person also be talking about hardship? Matthew Gazy says, I think it's their own problem. I agree perfectly with you, Matthew. It is their own problem. Well, so Matthew Gazy, so far you expressed my thoughts too. It is indeed their problem. It shouldn't be blamed on the economy at all. Richard Kamsi says, no job is the cause. I see. Well, Karim Dallo says, sign of lawlessness in Ghana. Absolutely, Karim. Sign of lawlessness. You've got to be disciplined. Well, Afedi says, we should ask the president. Whoa. Okay, so Jules Afedi, you want us to ask the president. Ronald Yabwa says, this is serious. So, Ronald, it is serious. So, it is serious that you beat somebody to death over peanuts. Well, my issue is, can we find a permanent solution to the situation? Please help me out with your suggestions.
Well, the police would have to play their role, and the general populace should also play their role. We should be very vigilant, okay, in and around our houses and how we deal in our transactions with people. You know, we shouldn't engage ourselves in, should I say, criminal activities, because for them, you can never escape. Maybe you might escape today, but tomorrow they will find you. So we shouldn't engage in other activities, other bad activities, okay?
By advising them.
The only thing we know that we are suffering, the government should sit down and do everything accordingly. This murder case will stop, because nobody will go and say, my son has taken 10 pesos, I should stop. No, it can't happen like that. It's your own son. So the economy should be stable so that we, the patriotic citizens in the country, will enjoy the country. No other people should come and enjoy it and take our money to somewhere else.
So if you have just joined us, this is JN Interactive. Let me quickly take you through what we have been discussing here, so you can also add your input quickly on our Facebook wall. Okay, so we have been talking about murder that's taking place lately in the country, and it is an issue that really the whole day I've been battling to understand why people are getting into so much murder over very small reasons and, well, very trivial reasons. And the reported cases of murder that appears to be on the rise by the second. Well, for instance, a few days ago, a man beat his child to death over 10 pesos. In a related development, we also recall the Stanbic bank worker who was murdered by a 22-year-old man at a residence for no offense, according to the man's own confession. Just yesterday, a 20-year-old medical student at the University of Development Studies was stabbed. Fortunately, she hasn't died. She is in very critical condition, and we are hoping that she regains her strength to be able to point out who her culprit is. Well, and then again, we have this man who beats his 32-year-old wife to death over 80 Ghana cedis. So we need you to also share with us your opinion as to what exactly is happening. Why would people be murdering over very, trivial amounts? 80 Ghana cedis, buy clothing for my children. She buys food instead during Christmas, and that merits her death. Her husband feels that, well, I did not ask you to do that, so you should die for it, so beats her to death. That's very unfortunate. Well, so let's see what you have been posting on our Facebook wall. Let's see. Okay, so if, okay, today I just hope it's very fast for us. Joshua Ebisa says, the heart of a man is desperately wicked. We need to give our lives to God, or else it will be worse this year. Whoa. Seth Mario says, it's all about the country's hardship. Something must be done quick before it's next to doorstep of the corrupt ministers. Kwekwa Pariano Ba says the kitchen is too hot in addition to the stress. Depression can lead people to behave in very awkward and unacceptable ways. Sometimes when the mind and the heart of a person decides to do evil, no law on earth can stop him except the conscience. We need to pray as a nation. That's coming from Cindy Moon. All right, so Cindy, thanks for that thought. Governor Eric says, I think the cost of living nowadays is very high. Government have to restructure the economy so that cost of living must become low, especially agriculture products. That is, you were talking about food. So that's also coming from Eric Govina. Prince Charles Adigri says tough economy. Yabua Philip says boys are tired, so they are using it for spiritual money. I see. Your opinion sounds interesting, Prince Philip. Okay. Red Pen Alcatel. Interesting name. He says the poor nature of Ghanaian is the main causes. Let job flow in the country. So you guys, are you telling me that by the time there is job in the country, all the women, your wives would have been killed? Ooh, you have a lot of work to do then. And Koma Abro Kwakweku Brooks says, it's not worrying at all. What do you expect? We have not seen anything yet. Unless we give practical meaning to the strengthening of institutions like the police, we will continue to witness these trends. I repeat, it's not worrying because this is the data available to JN Interactive. Come to Sunyai, Techiman, Doma and see what's up. Since Tete Nina Ghanaians believe that, God represents JTS, their security. Okay, so once we all think that God is our security, I will continue to be killed. Okay, so that's coming from Kweku Brooks. Let me just take the last one and then we'll quickly look at Twitter. What you again have been putting on Twitter. So Ewuku Makafui says, these things happen all the time. The fact that you are now being aware of it does not mean it is on the rise. Before we had radio and TV, would you know whether there were murders and abuses? Well, you seem to have a point there, McAfee, but ever since we also, radio, TV also started reporting, well, unless we were not privy to that information, these days it seems to have gone on the rise, and that's just what we are talking about. So quickly, let me see what you have also been putting on Twitter. Let's see who put what there. So this is as Sky News says, relatives of leaders using tax havens. China. Okay, so China, relatives of leaders using tax havens. Amnesty International also says 5 years ago today, President Obama signed order to close Guantanamo. What happened? Okay. These are news tweets for us. Okay, so time.com at time says stranded Antarctica passengers finally reached dry land. That's nice to hear. Good news there. We thank God for their lives. US Aid says agree 36% of millennials believe the primary purpose of business is to improve society. Okay, so those are not really related to our topic, but they are news tweets coming through that's worth sharing. At Financial Times also says Davos, this went first. BBC breaking news. Okay, so Lib Dem MP Mike Hancock suspended by party after report into claims of sexual misconduct towards female constituent. All right, so that's a piece of information there for us from BBC. Let me just quickly take the last one. Oxfam says here's a who's who of key players at gone over to Geneva. The writing is a bit confusing here. Geneva to peace talks in Switzerland. Okay, so I believe that's referring to the debate. That's my thinking anyway. That debate some presidents had. So it's been another day deliberating here, interaction here with you on the topic we put out concerning the murder cases on the rise over trivial reasons, and we are very grateful to your contributions and opinions. Nana has joined me.
And we'll be telling you more about issues we expect at 8 o'clock. Over 200 families we're told have been rendered homeless as a result of the demolition exercise at J. Kojo around Straha East in the Tema metropolis. We are told that the exercise turned violent when security personnel had to fire warning shots to ward off residents who were bent on salvaging what was left of their property. The member of parliament was there. We'll tell you more about that story at 8 o'clock.
At 8 again, we shall also be talking about President Mahama's input at the debate today, where he said lack of inclusion would prevent African countries from being truly secure. He was speaking at the World Economic Forum today in Davos, Switzerland, and Pres Mahama argued that while drawing in foreign investors was important, so too was promoting a home-ground business industry that would more directly enrich Africans. So obviously, you watch out. Don't miss out on that one during 8.
And thanks so much for having stayed there for us. Joy News exclusive will not be on your screens, but Tarzan's Take is beginning on your screens right after this. My name is Bright Nanamfo.
My name is Gladys Osei Uridu. Thanks for your time.